Why are you doing that? Oh, come on, it wasn't that bad. So, we saw Maze Runner 2, The Scorch Trials.
You know, the only non-really fucking stupid thing in this entire movie was the fact that it wasn't in the title called Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials. It's called that in the poster, and it's called that everywhere else, but the actual film itself is just The Scorch Trials, which is, like, good. Everything else, even the fucking walls in the set were below average IQ for walls. The other film was, like, it was a ridiculous premise, which if it was something like Weird Aliens did it, then it would have been fine, but it just had a really fucking stupid ending and then another stupid ending on top of that.
As I said from the first vlog, the first movie actually was pretty good, except for the ending. If it had had Dark City's ending, I would have been like, oh, it's a fairly competent, fairly good-looking, bit of sci-fi, if a bit done, but...
But then it's got a stupid ending, and then it doubles down on the stupid ending by revealing it's actually a different stupid ending, and then this one continues the massive fucking game of Jenga with pieces of stupidity taken from the bottom to make the pile even fucking taller, because this thing cannot be unstupid.
So let's start with the positive. I know I said it in the last vlog, this film did continue this series' trend of really diverse casting. Like, you know, how it's usually like, oh, it's the end of the world, and it's all populated by fairly good-looking white people. But I remember thinking in the first movie, wow, this is a very fairly ethnically diverse cast. Only one woman, but what are you going to do? And in this movie, I thought to myself, wow, again, this is a fairly ethnically diverse
women in the first
cast. Yeah, but, like, you know, she was, like, obviously, I'm the main girl.
There's evil one and non-evil one. They're both white, though.
Yeah. But in this one, I'm like, wow, like, this is a fairly diverse ethnic cast, and there's lots of women involved in places of power, not just around for set pieces. Good job. I guess you get Tumblr's seal of approval.
Stupid movie, stupid,
stupid!
stupid!
I'm not done talking!
Stupid!
But, yeah, so it had that in its favor. It looked good, but then what doesn't these days? Which I say all the time.
A lot of things.
We're not even going to dispense with the spoilers because we looked up the wiki. No, if you didn't... Shh, I'm not done yet. If you didn't see our first vlog last year, well, go look it up. It's on YouTube. But, you could put a nice little link to it right down there. Because you can do that with YouTube.
Yeah, but, well...
But anyway... this series is based off of a series by the writer James Dashner. The first one is, there's the Maze Runner, Scorch Trials, The Death Cure, and then there's a fourth book which is a prequel to the whole series called The Kill Order. So we looked up the wiki, and we read the wiki of the plot for the book of Scorch Trials, and apparently it's an entirely different thing altogether.
Yeah, it's just as stupid, but it's differently stupid.
Like, there's telepathy involved, there's all...
Giant monsters, there is they didn't escape into the thing, they're actually, they're either trolled into thinking everyone's killed, but they're not.
Now they're thinking in portals, but...
And the zombie things are the people that they meet just running around and surviving are actually all zombies. Or they're not actually zombies in the book. So the way it works is we join our heroes in Medias Res after just having escaped from the maze by this terrorist ish organization that brings them to an outpost like, oh no, Wicked, which you remember is the Worldwide Calamity Kill Zone Department that goes around. Why would you put Kill Zone in your name? I was thinking that, like, their acronym is WCKDs, they're called Wicked. I'm like, that is the worst it's PR also decision. The name of a type of alcopop. Really? Yeah, WKD. Oh. Wicked. Oh, I thought, no, it's WCKD. Because Wicked is not Iron Brew flavored. You can get Iron Brew flavored alcopop here. Yeah. But, so, it's alright. But, yeah, so they get rescued, and there's this guy who basically is evil Steve Jobs, like, right down to the turtleneck. Aidan Gillen, I am Littlefinger in Game of Thrones, throwing away every single bit of... seemingly intelligent in other parts in this fucking with a really bad American accent. I'm Toity-toy, I'm American! We choose the Stars and Stripes! Choose the scenery so bad by the end of the film. So, yeah, and then they find out, well, guess what? Dude, we weren't the only maze, says one guy. Says Reno, the Chinese kid who should have been the main character. Reno. What? The book version is called M-I-N-H-O. Oh, I thought it was Reno, like you know, Reno, Nevada. Apparently. Well, maybe in the film. That's what it sounded like they were saying anyway. But yeah, so he is like basically the MacGyver. He who knows everything. He should have been the main character, but whatever. So, and he's like, oh no, I've been separated from my girl, Teresa, who basically is just in the movie to, like, look vacantly around, you know, in search of a scarf and a pumpkin spice latte. I mean, seriously, never trust a white girl with a vacant stare is what I'm saying.
She looks just like someone I went to university with.
Well,
in fact, for all I know, she's the right age. It could be her.
And basically, like, Teresa looks like she's in her late 20s, the actress. I don't know, the actress might be really young. But the way they made her look in this, she looks like she literally could be his mom. Almost, if you squint. So, yeah. And it's just every trope you expect. There's double... Basically, if we've gone 18 minutes without an M. Shyamalan-esque twist...
Yeah, these twists, okay.
Oh, you didn't expect that, did you? Yes, we did, because you telegraphed it, like, from a mile away.
Every single, like clockwork, you've got either something really fucking stupid happening, or an M. Night Shyamalan type twist. And then, but they're like, ha, we're really clever. You'll get one, then the other, then the other, then the other. Ha, 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 variety. It's like,
this
no!
This guy that you thought was a bad guy is actually going to be a good guy. Yeah, we saw that coming, because he's quirky. This that you thought was actually a good guy is going to be a bad guy. Yeah, well, of course, because he's got that evil person stare. You know?
And the thing is, every single one of these M. Night Shyamalan twists is really fucking stupid. So it's just like, why?
It's like, oh, they get kidnapped by this terrorist organization that, you know, basically treats them like prisoners still. And, oh, wait a minute, it turns out that they are part of Wicked too. And I'm like, again, this is such a massive waste of time and resources.
Why did they do this?
No, see, we'll let them think they've gotten away only to hook them up to other missions. Like, why did you not do... I don't understand organizing a takedown, because basically if they organized the takedown of all their bases, their employees were shot for reals.
No, the lady in white wasn't.
The lady in white wasn't, but like all the people, like the technicians and stuff that you saw lying around actually dead, betting you they were probably actually dead.
Or they could have been, that could have been created. Regardless, whether they killed them for real or not, it's fucking stupid! This is like a wonderful ancient Babylonian ziggurat of fucking stupid.
And then, so they're like, you'll never make it out there in the Scorch, which turns out to be, I think, the San Fernando Valley?
It's a bit of a desert!
I was like, I wonder what city that is. Oh, it's a Golden Gate Bridge. Oh, it's California, okay. But, so...
We're gonna walk through a desert for a couple of days.
They drive for a while through the desert, and I'm like, who is maintaining those roads? Because one of the... Like, they show huge ruined cities full of dunes and deserts and stuff, and that looks really cool, but then... Okay, you know what? If you fail to maintain a road in, like, with a place of a climate like California, even if it's now with the drought times, within basically 2 summers, that asphalt's going to be cracking and undrivable.
Yes,
that happens in the real world. That's why your infrastructure is falling apart in America, because we can't maintain a road system.
And you've got, the cities are covered in fucking sand dunes, and then he's like, you can't get there on foot, I need Brenda, so steals this guy's big car. And then the fucking roads are perfectly fine. They're not just fine, they're shiny. They have, like, signage, you know, which is really, really shiny. It's wonderful. It's like all the sand migrated to the fucking city.
Yeah. Although it was kind of cool when they take shelter in, like, where this basically, like, huge tanker ship had overturned in, I guess, what's the San Francisco Bay? Or what used to be anyway. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Well, like those tanker, the big things.
Alan Tudyk turns up playing Eddie Izzard, as you suggested.
Yeah. Like, everybody in this movie should have been played by some... Like, there was this one little weedy kid who I think dies in the end. They don't make it clear.
Yeah, he's like, hi, I'm Eris. I do something at the start. I'm more notable. Then just is like, oh, I'm not going to say anything for the rest of the movie. And then, oh, vanished. Maybe dead. Who cares?
He's like, my name is Eris. And I wondered, oh, is he going to be killed by Sephiroth? But yeah, like literally, he's like the little weedy, nerdy guy. Basically, he looked exactly like a young Eddie Redmayne. So
fucking Eddie Redmayne.
Well,
he's fast replacing Benedict Cumberbatch as my young English actor who I dislike.
Well, whatever. He did really look like it. But yeah, like everybody looked like what's his face was kind of playing, you know, a let himself go Eddie Izzard, and I don't know. Everyone looked like they should have been played by somebody more famous.
And then you got Jorge and Brenda. Brenda, who is identical to Ash from Hey What You Playin' on YouTube.
Yes, Hey Ash What You Playin'. She does look like it, really. Like, Google it.
Just like, that's surreal. And, you know, those two, okay, they're basically... Okay, the zombies in this, they go into this dark place where the zombies have been conquering and they've gone full zombie. And they're, like, attached to the wall with these weird fungal things. No, she just said they've gone full
term. So I guess they've reached whatever age. One thing, if this virus is spread by the sun... Like, why does it cause you to plantify? I don't even know.
Yeah, but the plantifying stuff and going underground is much worse underground. Last of Us, and you got these two, this older guy called Jorge, and you got Brenda. It's like, we've got, in this movie, we have a much shorter and stupider version of Last of Us, featuring, the Latin version. It's like, okay.
Diverse casting.
I'm not complaining about the diverse casting, it's just like, obviously someone watched The Last of Us.
Wait, what movie did we see with the earthquake?
San Andreas.
Yeah, and I was like, where have all the Latinos gone?
They've all gone
I guess they
here.
went to Scorch Trials. No, I mean...
they had to import... This film, they had to import a British person as well.
Yeah, they did. But he's just kind of around.
I'm pretty sure he died in the book.
I think he might die in the third one.
Someone's gonna die, because in this one it's like, oh look, we killed someone! Oh no, it's somebody just introduced at the start of the film. We don't give a shit.
We killed this Indian
and then
kid.
Suddenly they're like, oh no!
They're like, remember Winston? I'm like, you knew him for literally less than 24 hours.
And then there's, oh look, Teresa betrayed you.
Like, we didn't see that coming in.
And then you got Barry Pepper.
But how did she communicate with them? How did she contact them?
I don't know. In the book, she's telepathic. So in this one, she's either telepathic or she somehow found a radio in the middle of the fucking desert and contacted them.
Yeah, they make it to, like, the right arm, and there's a doctor there who knew Thomas.
Yeah.
And basically, you find out that Thomas's conscience overwhelmed him, and he basically gave all of this information to this rebel group, the Right Arm, and basically ensured that a lot of people got to safety, which was really good. But Teresa's like, no, see, because my mom died of the flare, and it was really, bad. So, like, we have a moral duty to, like, help people with science and shit.
And this film...
Sorry, I gave us away. And then lots of people fucking die so she can get a latte, bitch.
And this film features multiple times when they run into people who will promise to take you to someone else. And almost every single fucking time, it's a teen girl who's going to take you to an older man.
Yeah.
This happens, like, okay, this is a trope. This happens in films. That's fine. This happens multiple times in this.
Wait, explain the thing. Oh, I'll let so-and-so explain it to you. Why?
Who's that? I'm taking you to him right now.
I would never do that. I would be like, look, you have to go see the guy who's in charge. We just kind of hang out here. You're safe.
And then there's the two guys leading the Right Arm, the group against Wicked. Ooh, something wicked this way comes was never said in the film.
No,
Idiots.
it wasn't.
And okay.
They all have these like tattoos that can only be read by bioreader or something. It's just such a extraordinary waste of technology and scientific resource.
Yeah. But there are these two leaders of the Right Arm. One of them is Barry Pepper, basically playing. He looks like a redneck version of Nikolai Carpathia from Left Behind. I never realized that Gordon Curry and Barry Pepper look similar, but they do. They could be brothers, like Barry Pepper is the ugly one.
For some reason, he looked like he should have been Jeff Bridges. Or am I thinking of the wrong actor's name?
Not seeing Jeff Bridges there.
No, well, like some like famous actor who's like does those like rough and rugged kind of like.
It looks like the casting, they were like, okay, Barry, we couldn't get Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. I don't know anybody's name.
And then the other leader is, I forget her name, but she was the star of the fucking Conjuring and the Haunting remake, so,
I knew her from somewhere.
I hated her on principle.
She was like a doctor, and she got shot.
Now she can haunt people.
No, Mary, no.
It's so many bad movies.
But here's what you find out is the fact that, so, the kids who are born immune to the flare, they have some kind of enzyme that their body produces. And if for some reason, if you put them in the maze, it gets stronger. Although, how did they discover this initially?
I don't know.
That implies they just had doom mazes and fortresses sitting around to put people in.
This series would be
I'm not done yet. Okay. But then, so then the enzyme gets really strong. So, but it can't stop the flare virus. It can just like retard it for a little while. Stop. What are you doing?
I was looking into your ear.
Oh. But stop it. Don't look at my ear.
I'm seeing if I can see right through it.
I'm not done yet. I'm making a point. But yeah, so that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to harvest this from the kids. But then I'm thinking, they could bioengineer, like, the robotic cyborg crab monsters. There's all this stuff they can build. They can, go in and remove people's memories. They can do all this kind of stuff. Why can't they stop that? Don't mess with my candle. Why can't they synthesize one enzyme? I'm just saying.
Yeah. The concept of the Maze Runner first film was fine if you gave it the alien type inexplicable ending. Yeah. Then this one, the idea of people who are cured, who are immune to a thing, and they're going to be used basically to harvest cures, fine.
Or not aliens, but a very, very, very wealthy, very demented person
or even,
who had their own private island to torture people on.
Or even just don't explain it a la Cube.
Yeah.
Any of these three are better than what they did. And then this one, this is a fine idea too, but attaching these two things together.
Yeah, and then like what's her face, who's like the white scientist, the elderly female not elderly, but older female actress wearing white trope. And she's like, oh, I'm a doctor, and maybe my conscience isn't clean, but I had to do what I did. I mean, they tried to bring in a moral aspect to it, and it kind of like a My Sister's Keeper kind of angle to it. Like, well, you know, do they have this responsibility to humanity that there's something about them that can help people? But the problem is that that would have been a really good gray moral situation to explore if the medical organization wasn't called Wicked and was basically Nazi fascists. I mean, like, there is no, like, if they made them a little bit morally gray, I could say, yeah, that's a really good thing. What would I do in that situation? But they're obviously evil bad guys. They build doom fortresses.
Yeah, and the start of this movie is like Insurgent or
At least
Divergent.
They have the like bird hair cutting moment.
Yeah, with the destroyed city, and then the very end of it's like the fucking Host, the Stephanie Meyer one, where you've got a bunch of idiots hanging out away from being all rebels and living in like a really fucking. At least this one, they look like they actually came into contact with dust, unlike the Host. It's like pieces of this film are from other YA type things.
Although one thing this movie did do well is the making things looked realistically abandoned. Some movies are like, it's obviously, I created some abandoned looks in Photoshop and then just kind of plugged that into the film. But things did really look like how you would expect if people had been scavenging there or like living there for a while.
And the bits where Brenda was running around with Thomas through the this building that was on its side and all like that was just like Last of Us as well.
Oh, I never played it. But yeah, it just the thing is that like post-apocalyptic, it can be done right. And I've not ever read the Hunger Games. I'm sorry, Hunger Games. I've never read the Maze Runner series. I've never read the Divergent series. I haven't read Hunger Games, although I might eventually because everyone has told me it's well written, and Stephen King has said it's well written, so I believe him. But the thing is that it's just, this feels like someone just jammed a whole bunch of tropes together. And because I haven't read the book, I can't say where that was the screenplay just jamming tropes in, or if the books really are that bad. I mean, you just read me the synopsis of the second one. It had nothing to do whatsoever with the movie that we saw. Nothing.
Yeah, well, a couple of words here and there.
Yeah.
Scorch was in the synopsis.
You're like, you'll never make it across the Scorch. Except for, like, it was basically the dried out San Francisco Bay, and they did.
Yeah,
in less than 48 hours.
This killer desert is the San Francisco Bay. They get across it in 2 days. The other side, you've got an entire fucking city full of, scavenger people.
And a mountain range.
Yeah, where there's more scavenger people living. You've got that. It's like, dude, there are more dangerous deserts in the fucking world today. There's the salt deserts in Utah. There's ones in Australia, which are apparently hundreds and hundreds of miles wide. What the fuck?
Like you said, you'll never make it across the Scorch, and then it was Mad Max Fury Road. I'd believe that.
Yeah.
I'd call that a Scorch.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Although
you'll never make it to Alice Springs.
Someone pointed out something rather hilarious about Fury Road, because Fury Road, they're all like, well, you've got enough supplies and stuff, take those bikes across that desert for, I think they said like 600 days or 3 months or something like that. They gave you a certain amount of time that you've got, and then you have to walk. And then they were like, oh no, well, we might never make civilization. And someone pointed out that if you average at about a certain amount of miles per day, which was like 30 or 40 miles per day, then actually in that amount of days, you do that every single day, you will actually cross the world like twice. You will circumnavigate the Earth.
I can't be right.
Basically, the writer's got the details. The writer got the details wrong.
Maybe it was a metric conversion thing wrong.
Maybe. Someone else has suggested this was brought up because someone was like, well, you see, maybe that desert is actually the Pacific and it's sort of boiled away. And then, so therefore they would never make that. And this one did some maths, and it was like, actually, they could make it all the way around the planet back to where they started in that amount of time.
But you'll never make it across the Scorch alive.
This fucking thing.
Like, and it was so great because his lines were just delivered so, like, creepily insincerely.
You'll never make it past the Scorch because I'm Aidan Gillen.
I kept expecting him to pull out a small device and be like, Thomas, do you know what this is? This is the iPhone 7, Thomas. Why, it's more revolutionary and feel it is later. Like, he wasn't evil Steve Jobs.
Why isn't Aidan Gillen playing Doctor Strange? Fuck you, Benedict Cumberbatch.
But yeah, so, I mean, we're probably going to go see the third one if they make a third one. You know.
I hope they make a third one. I want to see just how fucking tall this stack of shit gets.
It's just, I'm so sick of this. And I don't even know what, because it didn't start with Hunger Games. I mean, there was...
Twilight.
No, but Twilight wasn't dystopian, though. It wasn't
but it was YA, though.
Yeah, I guess that did start the boom, but, like, I don't know. I mean, post-apocalyptic has been a genre for a very long time. And it just annoys me that stuff like this gets so many millions of dollars thrown at it when no one knows who holds the rights to Canticle for Leibowitz. We could have
Isn't it like one of the Rolling Stones?
That's the rumor. Basically, in like David Bowie's autobiography, he mentions a conversation he had with Mick Jagger, who said he bought the rights to the film rights to Canticle for Leibowitz. I don't know if that's true. If anyone knows, write the show, because we were talking about this last night, and that would be, or no, earlier today. That would be a really great, done as a really great like miniseries. And if you've read the book, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's just, and I'm just, you know what, quite honestly, at least it doesn't have the romance angle. It's like, Teresa, I love you, and then...
No, this one's developed a three-way romance.
Well,
you got Thomas and Teresa, and you got Brenda.
Yeah.
This is developing it.
But she's gonna die, because she has the zombie virus, but...
One or both are gonna die, but they're developing it.
They're developing it, but...
It's there now.
Quite honestly, bros before hoes, man. Like, I want to see the 4 male leads, you know, as their, like, little unstoppable gang. And be like, you know what? No girls are gonna break us apart.
4. You got Thomas. You got Mino. You got the English guy. Who's the 4th?
The black guy.
Was he even in the first one?
Yeah, he was. He was the guy in the overalls. He was the fix-it guy.
Okay, because I can barely remember the first one.
No, because there were 2 prominent black kids.
There's the leader who died twice.
One was Albie, and then he was the other guy. He was the guy in the overalls who was always fixing things.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I remembered him because he wore overalls. And I'm like, oh, good, that guy's still in the movie. I was afraid they'd get rid of him.
Okay.
And Angry Eyebrows died.
River Phoenix.
Angry eyebrows come up to a point in the middle. I knew a guy like that. I worked who had those pointy middle angry eyebrows. We called him Andy Eyebrows behind his back, but he was kind of, he really didn't fit at the bookshop. Like, he just everything annoyed him. He hated our music manager, and he worked in the music department. So once while she was on a break and I was covering, during Christmas, he thought it would be a great idea to bitch to me about how much he hated her and how much of a bitch she was. And I'm like, look at him thinking, we're friends, right? You have to have observed the fact that we're friends. Yeah, he wanted to be a teacher. He wanted to be a gym teacher. And he was always, like, slagging off customers after they left and, like, making fun of people. And I'm like, yeah, you're the perfect gym teacher, all right.
What is that?
What? What's happening? Oh. But yeah, so Maze Runner 2, The Scorch Trials. You knew what we were going to say anyway. I mean, don't bother seeing it. You know what? Wait till they all come out on DVD.
No, go to see it. I want to see the third one. I want the third one to happen. It's fucking stupid. But look at this, guys!
They can't even see the autofocus. Oh, yeah, it is.
This is... Look at how big this fucking thing is. 12 DVDs. This is the Christian Scientist version of Star Trek, essentially. About these fine Christian people going off to explore God's firmament in space! But each episode is 25 minutes long. There is one episode on a disc.
You could probably fit that onto 2 discs.
Yeah, you could. Easily. Plus special features.
Yeah.
This is the least necessary amount of space I have ever...
I had to order it through Amazon.com to have sent here, because plus the import tariff and shipping and the actual cost of it came to like $72, so about 55 pounds or so.
Yeah, but I'm hoping to get an episode by episode out of this, so it should work out okay. But just Jesus Christ!
Exactly.
Oh yeah. 5 hours of stuff.
So, yeah. I mean...
Spend some of that sweet Patreon money on buying a new thing for my DVDs.
I'd say read the books, but, like, don't encourage James Dashner.
Is he bad?
No. He probably is a nice enough guy and everything. It's just that I'm so sick of teen dystopia. And like I said, like, oh, it's the end of the world, but we're still kind of hot somehow, and our hair is perfect except for some soot right there. I'm just so sick of it. And I'm sick of, like, oh...
At least Barry Pepper brought the looking like shit.
Yeah, I'm so sick of, like, but we're in the acronym faction. Oh, yes, but we're in the other word faction. It's like, the world doesn't work like that. Like, everyone... I don't really understand why factioning is so hot. I mean, maybe it's because everyone read Harry Potter, and they still want to be put in the Sorting Hat, but now they have hormones and want to fuck. But
I think it's because most of the audience of these are teenagers, and so clicks.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, the world doesn't work that way. And even when you try to impose a structure like that, in not real, but like in adult fantasy and adult sci-fi, it rarely goes that way. I mean, like, you know, it's not like, you know, you'll see, like, a dystopian future where, you know, people with, like, a blue tattoo on this side of their face encounter, you know, teens from the tribe with a red tattoo on the other side of their face. And they're like, oh, you see them? The elephants are down there. Look, it is the clan of the donkey. They voted for Obama in the before times. I mean, like, it's just so stupid and so bad.
You should watch the Star Trek episode, classic Star Trek episode of My Own Private Little War, I think it's called. The one with the Yangs and the Khans, and it was the Vietnam War analogy. Where the Yangs have, these primitive guys called the Yangs have a perfect recreation of the Constitution of the United States, you know, which is their holy document, and it's in English for some reason. And Kirk gives them a bunch of guns from, like, several hundred years in the future.
It's just so stupid. And you know what? If you're a writer, don't write this shit. If you want to write post-apocalyptica, if you want to write dystopia, write it, but don't...
Yeah, write something respectable, like in A Fault in Our Stars. You know, take Twilight and add cancer to it.
Would you stop that? No, but, like, there's so much good, really good early sci-fi and dark fantasy kind of stuff, you know, from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Read that, and let that be your guide, not fucking Divergent or The Maze Runner. I mean, you know, yeah, it sells like crazy cakes, but...
I'd like to see... Okay, Divergent... and Insurgent and its upcoming third one, Malignant.
No, it's Allegiant, but the funny thing is that the book came out like right before I left America, and so one morning this lady calls up the shop. She's like, "Excuse me, I need this new book for my granddaughter. It's called Allergic," and like I like could not. It took me a bit to figure out she actually wanted Allegiant.
I'm just thinking, I would love to see someone to do some sort of fan fiction or whatever. Like, I want to see that the entire stories of the Hunger Games and Divergent and Maze Runner are all actually created, like, in a holodeck created by, you know, hyper-advanced aliens to fuck with some individual humans.
But see, the thing is...
you know, you are really special, and here's some trials to prove that you're special.
His vagina is so very special.
Yes, his vagina is so very special.
Everyone points towards his vagina. But here's the thing is, that's not even it, though. There's one series by Michael Grant called Gone, and all its books are, like, this thick. And it's a similar thing, a group of kids that are super special for some reason, cordoned off, and like some kind of dystopian happening. But they all have titles like Light, Plague, Fire with a Y, Lies. And I'm telling you because I shelve in teen. There's 5 billion of these.
So clearly you need to be writing teen dystopian fiction.
Don't do it. Write something else.
No, you need to, because then you can get a novel easily published.
I won't. If I'm going to write dystopia, and if I'm going to write post-apocalyptica, I'll write it for adults, thank you very much. That's why I don't read teen, and I've talked about this before, I think, on Lesbian Talk, that, you know, even if it has a really good story hook, even if it's a really good setup, if it's a tender coming of age, no, I've come of age already. If it's a girl main character, she can be strong as fuck, but I know that there's going to be, like, you know... she's gonna want the D at some point. And if it's a guy, and I'm like, well, he's gonna find his pussy at some point. And I hate to bring it down to such vulgar terms, but teens are full of hormones. We're not gonna lie. I mean, like, that's the point. Like, you know, there's a point where, like, she's getting changed, that Teresa is, and the black kid's like, and the British guy's like, nope. And he's like, and he goes, oh. And he makes his face is basically like, what do you expect, man? Like, seriously. they said, oh, that's Eris. His maze was all girls. And then Mino goes, some guys have all the luck. You know, so we know that they want to fuck. And we know that that's what teens think about. It's not their fault. That's what they're wired for. They're wired... No, hold on. They're wired to have crisis mentalities. That's why to a teen it seems like the fucking end of the world, because their brain is telling them this is the fucking end of the world. They have no confidence. They're awkward and they want to fuck. And that's great, but I'm in my 30s now. I mean, if I'm going to read fantasy where people want to fuck, I'll read Game of Thrones. You know, like, it's just... I need more than what teen offers me.
I came up with a concept for a film involving teen cliques like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was basically, there was some sort of a crazy virus or some sort drove everyone mad.
Because there's always a virus.
Yeah, and a city was sort of disconnected from the rest, like through
a
mountain or a wall or something, and it's by itself for like 40 years. And what we have then is you've got teams of rich assholes are led through basically on safari to hunt the people who were the descendants of the people who were left, and all that are left are hyperly warped mutated versions, not physically mutated, but mutated sort of intellectually versions of these cliques. For instance, they go through like this old cinema which is still playing, but it's just static now because the actual film's burned away. And you've got a bunch of otaku in there who are like, they're just sort of sitting there like, and then they hear noise and they're like, you know, being like saying one or two half phrases in Japanese and sort of following the noise and stuff, going like, and you got these people like versions of like these kids who are really into racing cars and stuff. They're all covered in horrific burns, just obsessively getting into any car they can find and driving as fast as they can into walls, somehow never dying. You know, shit like that.
That actually written... You know who could write that satirically? Tom White. He's an evil genius. If you gave him that story idea, he could make that work.
So that's an idea I had.
That's enough rambling.
That's my version of a YA thing. You go on rich assholes hunting dystopian mutant teens.
So it's been about a half an hour of us fucking around, but that's our opinion. That's what you pay for. So we'll see y'all later, probably. If we're wearing the same thing for Lex Appeal, don't be scared. Ah.